This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, fill in the blanks to output JS is cool into the console. So the first one will be console.
Good.
And I want to say Phil.
No. Does anybody want to help him?
Log.
Yeah, good. No, log. He said log. LOG. Yep. Good. All right, David S. Can you answer this one?
Declare a variable called x assigned to the value 42 to its output it to the console. All right, so 42.
Good.
Console
42.
Output and output. 42 console.log to console.
So we've assigned 42 to X. So if we want to put 42
X.
in the, yep, good. All right, Roger Chang, can you answer this one?
All right, what is the output of the source code? //x8, or is it, so it's 8? Is it 8?
No, so remember // is a comment to comment something, comment something out with it.
Oh, right. 2.
Good. Samantha B.
Rearrange to form valid JavaScript code that declares a variable and outputs to the console. Script.
Good.
Bar name. And then console.log and then ending script.
Good. So var name up 1, and then you'll be good to go. Yeah, there you go. Kevin B, can you do the next one?
Yep. Arithmetic operators. The name might be a bit of a giveaway, but arithmetic operators perform arithmetic functions on numbers, both literals and variables. Below you can see the addition operator in action, determining the sum of two numbers. You can add as many numbers or variables together as you want or need to. Heads up, you can get the result of a string expression using the eval function, which takes a string expression argument like eval 10 times 20 plus 8 and returns the result. If the argument is empty, it returns undefined.
I want to point one thing out, the increment operator. Scroll up a little. The plus, you'll use that a lot, especially with loops. But what that does is it takes whatever the value is and it adds 1 to it. And that may seem like, okay, well, why don't you just do +1 or whatever, or like a equals a plus 1 or whatever, right? But the plus plus is just a faster way to do that. So, okay, let's hit the try it yourself. And run it. And just like the calculator. Okay, let's close that and hit continue.
What will the following statements display? 12.
Good. Patricia, can you read this one?
Yeah. Multiplication. Want to hear a joke? What tool is best suited for math? Multipliers. JavaScript is pretty good at math too, though. We use the asterisk operator to multiply one number by the other, like this. Heads up, 10 times 5 or 10 times 5 will give the same result, but trying to multiply a number with string values that aren't numbers like Sololearn times 5 will return any and not a number.
All right. Let's hit the practice. Okay.
It's console.log.
Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have to put that, but well, let me read the whole thing. Right, let's start doing these. If you could read this one, because this is different than the other ones where they just give you the answer and you copy and paste it. So these aren't as much as a waste of time. So if you could read this.
Okay. Math operators. In the office, 2 monitors are connected to each computer. The first line of the given code takes the number of computers as input. Task. Complete the code to calculate and output the number of monitors to the console. Sample input 10. Sample output 20. Hint. Since each computer has 2 monitors, simply multiply the count of the computers by 2. Use the multiplication operator.
Okay. So what do you think you do to give the result?
I think it's console.log first.
Good. You can do that. Oh, it's commented out there, so uncommented out. Yeah, that works.
And then parentheses.
Mm-hmm.
And then computers by 2, because at the hint it tells me.
Good.
Hey, Brandon, I have a question about this one.
Uh-huh.
The last slide was saying that if you were to put in basically a non-number in the multiplication sequence, it would give you a return error saying that Sololearn is not a number. And in this case, we use the words computers times 2. I'm just a little confused. Do we have to?
Well, the difference is computers a variable. So computers is really equal to whatever number that they're going to input, and in this case, looks like 10.
So
right?
Because we assigned a value to that word computer as a variable, then it knows what it equals as a number.
Right, and the difference is a string is in quotes, and variables there's no quotes, right?
Okay.
So if it was string computers, it would come out that you can't do that. But with the variable computers, it's like that computers isn't even there, and it just represents the number. So
Got it. That makes sense. Thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, hit run. And continue. Oh, hold on. Wait a second. Okay, and Brian A, can you read this one? Or wait, actually, Patricia, I guess this one's still yours. It's kind of a long one, right? Wait, no, hold on. Yeah, it is. Okay, so what's the, what do we use for multiplication?
The first one, the asterisk.
Good.
The star.
And now, Brian A, if you could read this one.
Division. What's swimmer's favorite kind of math? Division. Sorry, back to business. We use the slash operator to perform division operations. Heads up, beware of the situation where there could be a division by 0. Things get messed up when we do the impossible math. It would be a slash. What character do we use for division?
Good. And Jacob M, can you read this one?
The modules, time to talk, remainders. You hate them in school, but they're pretty easy here, promise. The modules, percent, operator, return the division, remainder. What's left over? Like this, my variable, 26. Okay, because you're left with the remainder of 2 when you divide 26 by 6. JavaScript, we can use the math modules, operator, and on floating point numbers.
Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? You're literally just getting the remainder. You're not getting anything else. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. Let's hit continue. And what's the answer?
7.6.
What? Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
7.6.
No, because remember, it's just the remainder.
Oh, so just 7.
Well, no, because that's how much it would divide by. It's just the remainder. So it's like instead of going into a decimal, right? So it's just what's left over. So it divides, 5 divides evenly into 38 7 times, right? But then there's the remainder left over.
0.6, yeah.
So how much is left over? How many
0.6.
whole numbers? Well, no, because we're
You round it up, so 1.
no. So it's the remainder. So okay, it's 35. It goes into it 7 times, so you got 35, and then you have 3 left over. So the remainder is 3.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Let's hit continue. Does that make sense to everybody now, or is anybody confused about remainders? I know it's probably been a long time since we've done remainders and stuff in school.
Decades.
Does it make sense to everybody now? Okay. I don't have any questions, so I'll take that as a yes. All right. Mark H, can you read this one?
Increments and decrements. Wait, what is it? Wait, I've heard of increments, but what the heck is decrements? We heard some of you say, well, throw an increment into reverse and presto, you got yourself a decrement. Let's dig a little deeper. Increments operate increase the numeric value of its operand by 1. When placed before an operand, it returns the increment value. When placed after it, it returns the original value and increments an operand. Decrements. The decrement operation decreases the numeric value of its operand by 1. When placed before the operand, it returns the decrement value. When placed after operand, it returns the original value of the decrement and the operand. Very confusing.
Okay.
Heads up, just like math you learn in school, you can change the order of the arithmetic operations by using parentheses like this: var x equals 100 plus 50 times with 3.
Okay. So let's go up. Like you said, that was confusing. So let's go. Let's just look at the examples right there. All right. So scroll down a little to the examples. Yeah, right there. Good. Okay. So with increment, remember what I was saying before? When you just add the plus plus, it's the same as that equals 1, right? Or that plus 1. So like if you look at the first one, you've got A equals B plus plus, right? That's the post increment. So if you were using A right in that example, A would be 10 because you set it to 10, and then B had the plus plus because it's what it currently is, and B is 11, right? So B increases by 1, but A, when you're setting the value, stays at what B currently was and not what B was incremented after. But if you look at the second example, and you've got A equals plus plus B, so you've got a pre-increment, they're both 11 because before assigning the value, it increased the number and then assign the value. So it's the same thing with decrements, however you say it, except it's minusing it first. So does that make sense, or is that not clear? So if you have it after the value, the var, the variable that you're assigning is going to be what it was before it increased. And if you have the plus plus before, that var is going to be what the number is after it's been increased by 1. Any questions on that?
Are we able to do maybe 1 or 2 of these as just a dummy example? I need like a 5-year-old example. Sorry for everyone else.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and open Visual Studio. And let's all follow along doing this. Okay. So go ahead. So we'll keep this right here. Actually, so let's delete everything but line 108 because we don't need any of that crap. Or sorry, not 108, 107. I'm just trying to save the document right because we'll use that. But yeah, delete all the other stuff up to 100. So we want to leave our script tags. Yeah, delete that. Or just press delete and it'll delete it. Yeah. And then go to 102 and delete down 102 to 105. Okay, cool. And then let's hit click to the beginning of the document .write and delete it back one tab. Good. Okay. So now above that in line 100, just type. Sorry, I'm a stickler for these things. They bug me. Like, can you get the script flush on the 99 and the 102? Let's get everything flush to the to the perfect. And your Word document right too. Okay, cool. It just makes it easier for readability later. Okay, so now let's do var equals, or var, sorry, not var equals, var space a equals 5. And then the semicolon. And let's say var b equals 10 and semicolon. All right, so now let's do, so erase the old enough to drink in line 102. Just the old enough to drink in the quotes. And actually, let's do that. And just put C there. Okay, and then go to line 101 and do var space C equals A plus plus. And then a semicolon. And then on the next line, so hit enter and do var D equals plus plus A and semicolon. Okay, now save that and let's go ahead and run that. So we're printing C. Okay, let's go look at our visual studio. So our answer is 5, right? Because what we assigned to C was A before it's incremented, right? So now let's go ahead and go to change it to D, and go ahead and run that. So it's 7 because let's go look at our code again. A was incremented on the first one. At the C, it was incremented and it went up to 6, right? At C, it was assigned C was assigned 5 because it was before it was incremented. And then when we go to D, it was incremented before, but it had already been incremented once when we did C, right? So it was already to 6, and now D is incrementing it by 1 again, but we're assigning D the value of A after it's been incremented. So like now change it to A. Save that and run that. And it's going to be the same thing because A is being incremented the whole time, right? It's just when we were doing D, it's just, okay, what is A after it's been incremented? It's been increased by 1, right? Does that make sense, or is that still unclear? I think it seems think it seems.
I hate to be the one, the dummy in the room, but I'm a little
it's fine.
lost.
I want you guys to understand it. That's why we'll go through Java. That's why I was saying like JavaScript is a lot more thought intensive than CSS and HTML, because those are pretty straightforward, right? It's like, okay, you do this, it's gonna make it that color or whatever, right? But with programming stuff, it takes more understanding, and that's why I was saying it'd be a good idea for you guys to meditate beforehand, just because it clears your mind and everything. It makes it easier to absorb stuff. But yeah, no, we'll keep going. So okay, so get rid of or comment out. So on line 101, comment out the that. Yeah, good. Now save that and change it to D. And now let's run it. Oh, you got to say, yeah, good. Okay, so since we didn't increment, since we commented out the C, right? It didn't increment with C, and it only assigned D the value of A after A has been increased by 1, right? So A's value is a variable, so it fluctuates and changes, right? So it'd be the same as doing this. Let's go back to the code. And let's click on D and change it to D equals A plus 1. So A's value is 5, right? But we're doing A plus 1, so save that and run it. And so it's the same thing as doing A plus plus, right? It's saying whatever the value of A is, we're doing A plus 1. Except the difference is that's just for assigning it. For this, for when you do the plus plus, it also actually increases the variable A. Is instead of just assigning it to C with plus 1. So let's go back to the code, and then so like let's do this. Click to the end of line. I was going to use B as an example. Let's just get rid of B because I ended up not using that as an example. So delete line 100. Okay, and then so go to the next line and do A plus 1, or A equals not var, just A equals A plus 1, and then your semicolon. And so now just comment out line 102, even though it wouldn't affect it. I'm just gonna comment it out anyway so that y'all know for sure it's not affecting it. So go ahead and put A in the document right. And save that and run it. So A is whatever A was plus 1, right? That's the same as A plus plus, right? Okay, and let's go back to Visual Studio again. And then copy line 100. And go down a line and paste it. and do the same thing again, paste it on another line. Okay, save that and run it. So now we get a equals 8 because a is a variable that fluctuates. It keeps changing every time we do something to it, right? So let's look at the code. So it started out with a was 5, and then we did a equals a plus 1, right? And so a became 6. And then on the next line, a equals a plus 2. So it went from 6 to 7. And then a equals a plus 1. So it went from 7 to 8, right? And then when we printed it, and the last value it was set to was 8. So that's the same thing as doing a plus plus, either before or after. Either before or after, because it's going to increase a. It's just the only difference is whether it increases a before it assigns the variable to like C or D or whatever, or after. Does that make more sense, or is it still not clear? I can keep going.
No, that makes a lot more sense. I didn't realize that each line within this script was still going to be utilized. I thought when we assigned a 5 and then we did any call for a later on in the script, I thought it still was 5. I didn't realize it was going through all of those different lines. So that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, it changes. Yeah, it's a variable. So good. I'm glad you
Okay.
understand.
Thank you. I appreciate
Mark H, your hand's up. What's up?
So my Visual Studio went down. I reloaded it. I got the codes, but it won't populate into onto the website. I'm getting the error when I run the Flask.
Okay. Well, for now, let's just follow along.
Okay.
And just watch what everybody's doing, and I'll help you once we get to the build your own site page.
Okay.
David S, your hand's up. What's up?
I got the code and everything, but when I ran it, it just instead of giving me the numbers, it just gave me letters.
Okay, let me see what's going on. Can you do screen share? Well, it's because you put a in quotes. So you turned it into a string a versus the variable a. So if you get rid of those quotes on line 1,
Gotcha.
then it'll be the variable a. So save that and run that.
Ah.
And there you go.
All right, understood.
All right. Can my screen share again, please? Thank you. Okay, let's get, so any more questions on that? I'm happy to keep going over it until you guys understand. Seriously, bug me. Don't be like, I don't get it, but whatever, let's just move on. Because you start to get lost and you're gonna stay lost because things get reused. Like this A++, that's just like the first thing you need to understand in order to then go into loops and use the A++ in the loop, right?
So when do you use the script?
When do you use the what?
The A plus and the adding subtracting.
Oh, well, usually it's in loops. So we'll get to loops, but like, okay, let's say you have a list. And you guys haven't learned list or arrays yet, but let's say you had a list of 5 different items, right? And maybe you don't actually know how many items are in that list because it was built programmatically, right? By either user input or different formulas running and stuff, right? and you wanted to iterate over everything in that list, but you go one at a time. So let's say the list had here, I'm gonna actually do screen share, because instead of having you try and type, it'd just be faster if I did it. That way I don't have to explain. I can just talk. Okay, so you've got a list, right? Oh, sorry. My movie's starting. One sec. All right, my bad. Let's close that so it doesn't happen again. Okay. All right, so let's get rid of all this crap. All right, so we've got a list, and it's got, different numbers in it, right?
Get me some thicker sweats.
And oh, let me mute people. There we go. All right, and we wanted to iterate over the list. So first we need a variable var a equals 0. A is less than the list dot length. Do this, right? And so what we're wanting to do is let's say we want to multiply each number by 2. So let's say list A times 2. So this doesn't really make sense until y'all get into lists and stuff. So I don't even know why I'm typing it all out. Okay, but basically, all right, so you want to multiply each one by 2, right? But you want to get through everything in the list. So we're doing the length of the list, right? So the length of the list in this case is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5, because there's 5 different numbers in the list, and it's all everything's separated by a comma, right? Actually, let's do two equals that 2 plus break tag. Okay, so like in this example, so we're wanting to multiply it times 2, right? And then have it, so like the first one that get printed would be 6, right? And then it would print it and add a break. But we did A plus plus. So A is no longer 0. Oh, and in lists, the first item is always 0. Oh, and actually it'd have to be length -1. So the first one is always 0, and then it goes to the next item on the list. Because the way you retrieve things in with lists is you put like the number value. So if we did the list 0, we'd get 3. If we did the list 1, we'd get 2. The list 3, we'd get 3, right? And so, long story short, if you're wanting to iterate through a list or an array, they call it, the plus plus is a good way to do that, because then it goes through each one on the list, and then this while loop, it's doing what you want for each item on the list until it gets to the end of the list. Does that kind of make sense? And it'll make more sense when you were just asking like why you would use this A++, and this is just an example of why, because what's it called? Once we get to lists, or once you get to while loops and get to using lists and stuff, like you'll be doing stuff like that in order to iterate through lists. So does that kind of answer your question, Mark?
Yeah, a little.
Okay, and like I said, it'll make more sense once we actually get there and you learn lists and everything. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe like when you would use it now before you know the stuff when you would use it.
Makes sense.
Okay, oh, let me do stop share. Okay, can my screen share again, please? Oh, I never, hold on, I never showed you guys okay, so like, here's the result of the thing, right? So when you run that, it's basically just multiplying it by 2. Oh, except it didn't get to the last one. Okay, so I shouldn't have done that -1. Oh yeah, because right, sorry. Never mind. But yeah, so anyway, it's just going from each item on the list and doing it, and it's increasing, it's doing the current value and then increasing it. So, but anyway.
And the -1 just removed that last item on the list.
What was that?
The -1 that you just took off, that just removed the last item on the list.
Yeah, I took off the, okay, because usually in while loops, the length is greater than, you get errors if if the loop tries to exceed the number that it actually is. So like if we tried to say iterate over this 6 times when there's only 5 things in there, it'd give you an error. And generally, since the length is since it starts at 0, then it's, what's it called? Since it starts at 0, even though there's 5 things in here, the last number on the list would be 4, right? But then I forgot that because I did the plus plus to plus it after, that it's just not gonna continue after. But anyway, the whole list starting with 0 instead of starting at 1 just kind of throws you off. So sometimes you have to do -1 in order for it to iterate through properly. But we'll get to that later. Okay. All right. Can my screen share do screen share again, please? All right, and let's go to Visual Studio or Sololearn. All right, and let's hit continue. Who read the last one?
I did.
Oh, okay.
Whatever the increments and decrements for are used for is to adding or subtracting one from a number.
Perfect. Kevin B, can you read the next one?
Yep. Assignment operators. And next in a series, very logically named operators is assignment operators. And you guessed it, we use these guys to assign values to JavaScript variables. Heads up, you can use multiple assignment operators in one line, such as x minus equal y plus equal 9. Calculate and enter the resulting value of this expression, 100.
Perfect. So plus equals is kind of like plus plus in the sense that it takes the value that it currently has and it adds to it, but instead of just adding one, you're adding however many it is. So if you do like plus equals, 5, then it's going to take the value and increase it by 5. So, and in this case, it's multiplies equals, so it's multiplying the current value times 5. Does that make sense to everybody, or are you unclear about that? Okay, cool. If anybody has questions, just raise your hand, let me know. Okay, let's hit continue. Patricia A, can you read the next one?
Yeah, comparison operators. We can use comparison operators in logical statements to find out if variables or values are different. You get either true or false. For example, the equal to operator checks whether the operand's value are equal. Heads up, you can compare all types of data with comparison operators. They'll always return true or false.
Okay, let's hit continue.
True, false?
Yep, good. So comparison operators, you're going to be using a lot, because you use it for if statements, and if statements make up the vast majority of your programming code, because you're wanting it to, if, given what condition, then either do this or do that or whatever, right? It's just how your code goes, in order to make things work. And with your if statements, you always have to use some sort of, well, not always, you could just do if true. Anyway, so you generally use some sort of operator. So like comparison operator of, like, if you're like, okay, if this variable is equal to or greater than or exactly equal or whatever you want, then do this. So yeah, anyway, you'll be using those a lot. So Roger Chang, can you read this one?
Comparison operators. Check out this table to see a breakdown of comparison operators. Equal is equals to. Do you want me to go through the list?
Yeah.
Okay. For example, 5 equals, 10 is false. Equal is identical, equal, or same type. So 5 equal, 10 false. Exclamation equals is not equal to. So 5 exclamation equals 10 is true. Exclamation equals equal, not identical. 10 exclamation equals is 10 is false. Greater than, the greater than 10 greater than 5 is true. Greater than or equal to is greater than or equal to. 10 is greater or equal to 5 is true. Less than is less than 10 is less than 5, false. Less than or equal to 10 is less than or equal to 5 is false. Heads up, one important thing to remember when you use operators is that they only work when they're comparing the same data type. Numbers with numbers, strings with strings. You get the idea.
Okay, let's hit practice. And what should you do here?
There are a lot of situations where you want to check someone's age, not just at the bar. You are given a program that takes the age of the user as input. Complete the code to check if the user is an adult and output to the console the corresponding Boolean value. Sample input 20, sample output is true. So would this be the var A is equal to 20?
Well, okay. Go ahead, tell me where you're going with it, and we'll see from there.
Or do we use the equal? So sample output is true.
Well, let's start with, so you don't really need, so basically
So-
it's saying it wants you to either say true or false. So the variable age, right? So they could present a bunch of different numbers
So then,
for age, right? Like they
right.
need like 10 different inputs of age and try it 10 different times. And they want you to either say true or false for if it is above 18. So
then you would do greater or equal to 20.
well, no,
Or-
you do greater than or equal if the age is greater than or equal to 18, I think, because it said
The sample input is 20.
yeah 18 because it's
Oh,
an adult.
okay.
So
then,
we don't really need this var a equals 20.
yeah, so then it would be the
Couldn't you just use the console.log one they have at the bottom?
Yeah. So yeah, so that's good. Let's start with that. Except we're not going to have 20 greater than 18 because we're going to use that variable. And
Would this just be in the parentheses, we put A and then the greater than equal 18?
well, we wouldn't put a because they created the variable age, right? So we'd use that variable age.
Oh, excuse me,
and then-
age, not A. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then we do greater than equal to 18. So put that.
okay.
So good. You guys got it together. Teamwork makes the dream work. So let's delete the greater than 20 and just change it to age greater than or equal to. So we gotta get rid of the 22. Good. Okay, and then hit run and continue. All right. And then you're
Oh boy. So the value of 1 are equal to, so it's equal,
perfect.
not equal,
And it's already
is
got the-
exclamation equal,
Perfect.
so less than.
Yeah, so just the less than sign. Good. Good.
And if it's straight equal to, is that equal again?
Well, 3 equals.
3 equals.
Because it's the strict equal, so equal and the data type is the same too. So it's not like a string 2 equals number 2. That would not be true on equals. But number 2 equals number 2 is equal on equal. Okay.
Okay.
So let's hit continue or check and continue. And continue. And Samantha D, can you read this one?
Logical operators. Logical operators are also known as Boolean operators or the Vulkan operators. Okay, that one isn't true. Evaluate an expression and return true or false. Check out the table below to see more details on the logical operators and or not.
So this and or not, you would use in like your if statements if you want to make sure multiple statements are true. So if it's like, okay, if x is greater than 10 and do the and y less than 20 or whatever the case may be. That's just how you would say, okay, execute this command if both of these are true. So okay, let's hit continue. Oh, and the other one or and the other one, if it's not true. But anyway, okay. So what's the answer?
Both operands are true.
Yep, good. Michael East, can you read this one?
Yeah. Logical operators. Let's take a look at an example. Here we've connected 2 Boolean expressions with an AND operator. For this expression to be true, both conditions need to be true. The first condition determines whether 4 is greater than 2, which is true. The second condition determines whether 10 is less than 15, which is also true. Ta-da, the whole expression is true, very logical. Conditional or a ternary operator. Conditional or ternary operators assign a value to a variable based on some condition. This is what the syntax would look like. Variable equals condition, question mark, value 1, value 2. Here's an example. Variable is adult, age greater than 18, or under 18, too young, old enough. With logical operators, you can connect as many expressions as you want. Oh, if the variable age is a value below 18, the value of the variable is adult will be too young. Otherwise, it'll be old enough.
Okay. And let's go ahead and so scroll up and hit the try it yourself and hit run. So like in this case, so with the question mark, so let's expand the JS. Good. So like with this one, it's saying, okay, it's basically doing an if statement, but it's saying if this, then assign this, right? So it's saying, if age is greater than 18, then, you're going to assign the, or sorry, if age is less than 18, you're going to assign the first one, which is too young. But if that's not true, if age is not less than 18, then you're going to assign the second one. Does that make sense to the variable?
Yeah, this makes sense. So on a elementary website example, if you had a user enter their age in a field, maybe an
Right.
input box or something,
Right.
on the back end, we would have this script in place that would either grant or deny access based on the age they enter.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
But
that's just a 5-year-old example, but yeah.
No, that's good. Whatever you got to do to understand it, that's why we're here. Y'all really need to understand everything we go through, or else, like I said, you're gonna get stalled later because things work together. Okay, so let's hit X and scroll down and hit the practice. Okay, and if you could read that.
Yeah. Logical or Boolean operators. Time flies when you're having fun. Given a clock that measures 24 hours in a day, write a program that takes the hour as input. If the hour is in the range of 0 to 12, output AM to the console, and if the output PM, if it's not. So they gave us sample input of 13. So we would do console, I'm going to speak it out loud before I start typing it in here, but is it console.log, and then in parentheses, it would be
good
hour. And we would do the less than 12 would be.
So just a hint for this one, because there's a lot going on, you probably don't want to put it all in the console. So you're probably going to want to create a new var above it. You could absolutely do the whole thing in the console, but it would be more, it'd just be easier to put it in a var and then assign. So like let's on line 3, let's create a var named print. And then go down to your console log and delete hour in there and put print. So whatever our answer is what we're going to print, right? So from there, go ahead and make your variable print. Just because it's more straightforward than putting it in the console log.
I'm not sure what to do with the variable print or how that would work.
Oh, okay. So whatever, basically what you were going to put in the console.log, you're just going to put in print. So print equals, and then now whatever you were going to put there.
And so there it would be hour, and then the less than equals.
Well, we've got to put it in parentheses first. So put it in parentheses. So this is like our if statement. So if
the hour is less than 12, then we would add AM.
Yeah, so then put your closing.
Is it a colon AM?
closing parentheses, and then you're going to do a space and then your question mark for the two different answers. So like if it is equal to or greater than 12, then it's just one question mark. And then, put your different things and it's separated. So like your AM, PM separated by a colon.
And so on this, well, if it doesn't, so for example, our sample input is 13 that they give in the question.
Mhm.
Now, the way we've written this right here, if it's less than 12, it has the option. Well,
Oh, and
Well,
we're going to make that AM, PM in quotes. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
that's all right. That's all right.
So what were you saying?
I guess I'm asking, so like on line 3, we have to print if the hour is less than 12, and then it's got two options of AM or PM. I don't know, I'm getting confused.
What are you confused about?
So I understand that if I write a line of code here that says hour less than 12, it would need to print AM, but how would it know? Do I need to write another line that says it, if hour greater than 12 PM, or is it going to?
No, that's the great thing about it. When you separate it by the colon, it's basically saying, okay, if hour is greater than or equal to 12, then print this first thing. So
Oh, okay. So the order matters then for it to pick which one.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
And it's saying if that's not true, then print the second thing that's after the colon. So okay, so let's put our or might as well just delete that semicolon and we'll add it later and add a space and then put AM in quotes. Oh, and sorry, quotes. You put it in parentheses. And then click to the end and then colon. No, yeah, regular colon. Yeah, there you go. And then in quotes PM. And then at the end now put that semicolon. Good. Now just hit run. And continue. So does that make sense now, Michael?
Yeah, it does. So I just want to clarify real quick or recap real quick. So
Mhm.
when I create this line, it's going to take the variable. It will compare it based on the operator I gave it, whether it be equal to, less than, greater than, whatever I assign it.
Right.
I give it two options with the question marks, each option in parentheses separated by a colon. And then when it reads that code, it will take the variable and it will, if it falls in that greater than, less than, equal to, whatever, it will apply the first option. And if it doesn't, it will default to the second option.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So if it doesn't fit that condition, then it does the second one.
Go
So,
back and let me see that again.
Okay, let's hit back. And scroll down and hit the the practice. And just let me know once you got it.
I see there's okay.
Okay. All right. Just hit the X to close it because you
Hey,
already.
I'm still behind. Can you take a look at mine real quick?
Sure. Hold on. Okay. Can you do screen share?
Yes. All right. I'm not seeing what part I'm missing.
Hold on. Can you move your mouse? Because I can't.
Which part you want me to move? Because
Oh, you need the equals, greater than or equals.
where at greater than
So if our
line 3?
yeah, so on line 3 it says hour and you have less than 12, it needs to be less than or equal to 12. So the equal, yeah, right there.
Okay.
Now just hit run.
All right. All right, great. All right, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, can my screen share again, please? Thank you. Okay, and Michael, what's the answer here?
Logical operators. Logical not returns true if not returns true if the operand is false.
Yes, good. And let's see. Oh, now my whole thing's reset. Okay, Peter, can you read this one?
Ah, they got me. String operators. Time to introduce the most useful operator for strings. Drum roll, please. Concatenation. We can use concatenation represented by the positive sign to build strings made up of multiple smaller strings, or by joining strings for other types. Check it out. This example, the class that initializes two string variables and then concatenates them. Simple, but super useful. And learning JavaScript with Sololearn. Because numbers and codes are treated as strings. So 42 in quotes is not the number 42. It's a string that includes the two separate characters 4 and 2.
So you'll use this a lot when you're working with like variable. I mean, there's multiple ways to insert text into strings, and we'll learn the other ways too. But you would use this like if you want it. So let's hit the try it yourself. And then just click to the end of line 2 and hit enter. And just do var space number or whatever, my number. Well, okay, my string 3, that works. Equals, or no, just regular equals. And let's say 38. And then a colon at the end, or semicolon at the end. Okay, so now let's do my string 1 plus my string 3 plus my string 2. Or so in where, well, on in the document dot, right? Like basically just add plus my string 3 after my string 1. Well, no, so click to the end of my string 1 and then just add plus my string 3. Okay, and then hit run. So like if that my string 3 was like user input or something, or the result of some sort of code or whatnot. Let's say we're building an email, right? Because you guys will learn how to send automated emails and stuff once we get to Python. So let's say we're building an email and you want to insert the person's name in there, or like later in the letter you want to insert their phone number or their account number or account balance or whatever the case may be, right? So combining strings or string concatenation is, you know, a great way to do that, to insert like the stuff that's not always the same, the variables, into like some string of text, right? And you can do the same thing in like a program, like your answer was, you know, 38. The correct answer was, you know, whatever or whatnot, right? So you guys see like how you would use, how and when you would use string concatenation. Does that make sense? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Okay, so let's hit X to close that. And continue. And what's the answer?
Oh yeah, that's still me, right? String operators was a output of the following code for X50 for Y100 document dot write X plus Y. So that would be 150.
Well, no, because those are, see, they're both in quotes, so they're both strings.
Oh,
so
5,000.
Yeah, the 50,100 one, yeah. Good. Okay. And continue. And Ayani, can you do this one? Ayani, you there? Okay. Will, can you do this one? Will P. Oh yeah, that's right. Roger Chang, can you answer this one?
Which of these names are acceptable for JavaScript variables? First number.
Good.
Total percent sum.
No, because it's got a special character percent in it, which is a mathematical operator.
So the underscore module.
Yeah, perfect. And just remember, just use text, just use words for it, and maybe like a number at the end if you're doing the same thing multiple times. You don't need to be adding underscores at the beginning and stuff. Okay. Mark H. Can you answer this one?
Finding the data types of the data shown below in the comment field. 12 closing number, some text, number, true.
So what type of data type is some text is what it's asking.
Yeah.
So it's in the quotes, so it's a
comment. String?
Yep, perfect.
Okay.
And then true and false are if you need help with this one, it's okay.
Yeah, I really need help on this one.
Okay, does anybody know the answer?
It's
Boolean.
Boolean.
Yes.
Boolean, yep, perfect. All right. Boolean's got two O's, and then bool. So basically, boo like boo, and then lean is how it's spelled, Lean. Okay, and check and continue. Samantha D, can you answer this one?
What's the result of the expression var1 and var2 if var1 equals true and var2 equals false? True.
Well, no, because with the and, it's saying okay. If
I don't
both,
remember what and is. I forgot.
it's just and. So it's
Okay.
saying if var1's true and var2 is true, then do whatever. But since one of them is false, then it's just false.
Okay.
Okay. And David S, can you answer the next one?
Trip planner. You need to plan a road trip. You are traveling at an average speed of 40 miles an hour. Given the distance in miles as input, the code to take input is already present. Output to the console, the time it will take you to cover in minutes. Sample 150. Sample output 250 or 225. Explanation. It will take 150 divided by 40 equals 3.75 hours to cover the distance, which is equivalent to 3.75 times 60 equals 225 minutes.
Okay, so let's start by, instead of just trying to put it all into one long thing to get your answer, let's break them down into variables. So let's start with variable x equals, and then so what's the first thing you need to do to get the first part of it, which is the distance divided by 40.
X equals
X equals 150.
No. Well, let's try and let Dave answer.
Well, the 150 is just a sample.
Right. So they're giving you the variable distance. So you're going to use that. So what do you think you do then? I'll give you a hint. It's pretty simple, and I kind of told you the answer when I said
divided by 40, so
yep.
slash 40.
Perfect. Yep, perfect. So distance divided by 40. And then semicolon. And the reason we break it down into different things is because it's easier to read than trying to decipher the whole thing. So it's just a good habit to get into. Okay, so the next one, let's make it variable y. And then equals, and so then what do we do with that resulting x, right? So if you look at the explanation, we took care of the top part to get that. So now what would we do?
Is input, the code to take input is already present, output to the console all the time to cover in minutes. So y equals so y equals miles.
Well, we haven't defined a variable miles, but what we did is we defined the variable x, which is the miles divided by 40, right? So we've
Okay,
already
yeah.
got the answer in X, so it'd be X and then what? And if you look at the explanation, it kind of tells you down there. Because we did the top part, so now it's just the bottom part.
Minutes. So X multiplied by multiplied by minutes.
Well, we don't, but well, we
You
already.
don't have minutes.
Well, it's just times, like, it's just it's written right there. So like, okay, in the example at the bottom, the 3.75 is our X, right? So then basically, what do they then do to X? What did they do to the 3.75 on the bottom line of the
They multiplied by 60.
Perfect. And then our semicolon, and now we just console.log y, and we're good to go. Mixed up the, wait, no, never mind. Oh yeah, you put an S instead of a, or no, you just missed the N, so it's CONSOLE. There you go. Well, just parentheses Y. Oh, but the parentheses, no, not quotes, parentheses right after log. There you go. And then Y, and run and continue.
The semi. Oh,
What was that?
I added a semicolon after the Y on the console.log.
Oh yeah, no, you don't need to do that. All right, so that's a good place to stop for today. Oh wait, are we on? Hold on.
That's 14. Condition and loops.
Go back.
Oh yeah. So let's stop it before we get to conditions and loops. So, oh, did you need to go? You said you need to go back. Okay, let's pull up the one we just did. Oh, it's in basic concepts. So you got to close out of here and just hit leave, and then go up to basic concepts, and then go to the bottom one. Yeah, click right there. And let me know once you guys got it.
Yes, 60 right there. Cool.
Are you
also that log?
Oh, okay.
Right. Okay, let me try that and see. Oh, okay.
All right, everybody good? Okay. All right. So now, if you got anybody, well, first I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna stop recording. I'll be right back.